File 24057.
Okay, the court received a petition today asking to remove one of the parents from the home and for jurisdiction over both parents and the children. So it's been asked that I make that decision on an emergent basis. So we've convened this afternoon in order to look at those requests. We've made some time for the attorneys to talk to their respective clients, and I'm looking forward to the updates. We did have a brief sidebar as well, during which the attorneys had some comments, and I'll let them address those on the record after appearances.
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Ms. Saja Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. Trout.
Hannah Trout with the department.
Michael Brooks, I represent the father in this matter, Joshua Branham.
Joshua Brown.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ariel Berger here on behalf of Mother Cynthia Knapp.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome. All right. Comments about the sidebar. Let's start with Ms. Heiss.
Your Honor, I think that the plan is to get through a prelim or at least an emergency temporary order on placing the children, and then a full prelim could be set for another day and adjudication trial. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes, we discussed the issue of notice and whether it was sufficient or not. But I think that it's probably best described by Mr. Brooks. It's my understanding that there may be a potential plea from mom, and then we move forward on the preliminary side for dad today.
Mr. Brooks.
Well, as counsel said in our sidebar, there's no requirement of notice, and that's exactly what we got. No notice at all. This came to my office at 6:45 last night. I found out about it after I came back from this court this morning at about 10 after 12. I met my client on Zoom, says he was served, as it kind of supported by the notes on the email, that they intended to serve him this morning, which he tells me he got this morning. He doesn't understand any of it. He has his own private attorney. He wants to use him, and I want him to have him. So I'm asking that this hearing be adjourned.
Did you have any comments on the sidebar?
Yes, Your Honor. I do believe that the other attorneys have accurately summed that up. I was able to talk to my client a little bit more after that. And I did think we were in a position to enter a plea today, but if we are just hearing it on an emergent basis and can have a full prelim later, I think she would prefer that, just to give her a little bit more time to work through the petition and some more time to counsel with me.
Very well. Well, I think that there is at least one issue that has to be made on an emergent basis, which is whether or not one of the parents should be removed from the home. Is that right, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, but otherwise, for all other intents and purposes, I would be happy to look for some time to give the parents an extension and looking at the petition to get ready for a prelim. My hesitation is I know Ms. Thomas is out next week. Do you have anybody that could cover for you by any chance, Ms. Thomas, on this if we adjourn the prelim to next week?
Your Honor, I know that typically I would ask Mr. Amadeo, and I know that he is also traveling this week. I don't know when he gets back. I can ask Mr. Tipton as well, but I think those would be my only two options.
Yes, my concern is I could try. I mean, I certainly don't have anything Friday. I have a trial all day then. I have a lot of hearings scheduled for tomorrow, similarly to what we're dealing with today, and that's not really much of an extension. Monday is packed, and I know you're gone the rest of the week. The following week, on the 22nd, I have a jury trial. On the 23rd is already a packed day. So, and it's packed with hearings that you'll be part of this time. I mean, or if we really want to push it, I can put it at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, April 23rd. And that would be our fourth one, trying to deal with all 4 cases that morning, which is usually a little more than we like to tackle, but that's the best I can do within the next 14 days.
On the 23rd,
At 8.
we have a case in front of Angelo, and I believe.
At 8?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. that down. Okay, so, what I can do is try to find some time that works for the rest of the attorneys and see, Ms. Thomas, you can try to see if one of your other counsel would be able to appear. You comfortable with that? What are your thoughts?
That's fine. And if, Your Honor, I mean, if I absolutely have to, I can appear via Zoom. I just am not, as I'm traveling today, set up, but next week's travel, I will not. But I can, with enough input in my brain, I can hopefully be prepared to take that on if need be.
I'm sorry, it broke up a little bit during the first part of what you were saying.
And sure, I'll figure it out. Yes.
Okay, thank you, we appreciate that. So next week, what I have available would be 1:30 on Tuesday, the 16th in the afternoon. Actually, I have 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or 1:30. I know Ms. Berger's schedule sometimes.
Any of those work? Actually, 1:30 does not.
All right, so we can go to the morning. Or I have, actually on Wednesday, the 17th, I have 11 a.m. if anybody wants that.
No, you can't.
Apparently I
10.
can't, Your Honor.
So the 16th at 10 o'clock, will that work?
Yes.
Yes,
All right, so April 16th at 10 o'clock.
April 15th.
No, who is it?
16th, Tuesday, that 1/6/16. All right, there are a few things that we do have to get through this morning. I have some preliminary questions for the parents as well, that I think should be fine. And then we'll give you the adjournment to further review the petition as well as to secure private counsel if you so choose. Deputy Ames, would you please swear in Cynthia Knapp and Joshua Graham?
You can remain seated, but raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Can you say it out loud, please? Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Knapp, have you been given a copy of the petition?
Yes.
All right. Are you aware of any other cases that concern your children, like child custody, support, guardianship, or anything like that? Okay. All right. You have the right to an attorney, which is why Ms. Berger is here. You have the right to retain your own attorney and the right to ask the department to prove the allegations by a probable cause standard. I'm sure you'll have more time to talk that through with Ms. Berger between now and when we come back. But please be aware we are happy to accommodate any request for trial. You would have the right to seek placement of your children at today's hearing, the right to admit or deny any of the allegations, and the right to have the petition read into the record. Ms. Berger, have you spoken with her about those rights, and can you confirm for us how she would like to proceed?
Ms. Knapp, have you been able to read the petition? Yes. And were we able to review it together? And do you need the judge to read that to you today?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All right. And we won't ask you to make the decision on a trial until we come back. You'll have some time to think about that between now and the 16th. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brandon, would you mind coming to the podium? Thank you. I'm just gonna go through the same questions that I went through with Ms. Knapp. Were you able to hear those questions?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you receive a copy of the petition?
This morning, yes.
Good. I know that you've been able to talk with Mr. Brooks. You have the right to retain your own attorney. So you'll have until the 16th to do that,
Yes,
and the
no
right, of
problem.
course, to request a trial at that time. Do you have any questions about your right to trial?
About the right to trial, no, not about the right to trial, about the domestic violence. I have court tomorrow. I don't even know what the charges are.
Well, just be careful on what you tell me
Okay.
today, because I have to, one of the things I have to decide today is there's been a request to ask you to leave the house. So I have to make that decision today, and I don't want you to say anything that might compromise things for you in that respect without talking to Mr. Brooks first. We'll have him here for you today. We'll have him here on the 16th. If you find your own attorney that you want to retain, you'll have to have that person reach out to Mr. Brooks, and they'll do what's called a substitution, right? It makes pretty logical sense. And then Mr. Brooks will hand over everything to that attorney.
I already am not allowed at the house.
Oh, through the case.
Through the case that I have tomorrow, I'm new to all this. I don't, when you look at my record, I'm 45 years old and in trouble. I got 3 grown other children. Not really understanding. And then there's, I don't know if there was a police report made, but there's second allegations in here about domestic violence. I'm just not understanding any of it. So that's why I feel like I need to have my own lawyer.
Absolutely. We'll give you some time to work through that between now and the 16th. By court rule, I can give you up to 14 days on the prelim hearing. So that's why we were looking for something kind of close in there. But if you end up needing more time than that, I can talk to the attorneys.
I won't, just the 2 hours, I was told at 11 o'clock about this and have to serve the papers and I don't. I'm in the, like, I can't even have contact talk to her, so I'm completely in the blind on what is going on. I have no idea, none.
Have you already made arrangements to stay somewhere else?
Yes, I have. I live in Romulus right now. I was told at 11 o'clock, I had to rush here. I don't know.
Well, thank you for making the time to come down.
Well, my kids, absolutely. I've raised them, you know, I've raised them, my kids.
Well, in light of that information, that sounds pretty safe there, Ms. Thomas, to use that key buzzword. What are your thoughts? And do you need to verify those bond conditions or the circumstances?
That's part of the allegations in the petition, Your Honor, with the parent no contact. There's concerns that it is not being followed, reports of Mr. Brown being in the home. And that is essentially why we did have to file when we did. And it's unverifiable, limited engagement from the parents with the department.
Right. All right, Mr. Brandon, are you aware of any other cases like guardianship, child support, or anything else that would concern your children?
No.
All right, very good. So it sounds like the department still wants to go forward, asking me to make that decision as to whether or not to also order you out of the house. So that's, I'll have to make that decision and the decision as to whether or not to authorize this particular petition this morning. All right, so you're welcome to have a seat. We'll have to make our way through that. Anything else before we get into it? All right, I will say, I warned all of you that I do have a probate docket as well. So I will ask you to accommodate a brief recess so I can take my 2 o'clock case, and then we'll come back on this one in just a few minutes.